Hey there, Chuck here with MTG The Journey. Going through some spoilers for today on the 23rd. There was a ton, of spoilers last night, in the afternoon actually yesterday. But I'm just going to try to go through some of the more impacting ones, I guess you could say. I don't really want to try to cover all these little comments or we'd be here for an hour talking. But this is one comment that I really like, especially since I play a lot of white. Exile target artifact or enchantment for 2. Seems really good, and it will make a huge impact both in standard and limited. I feel seems like it for this current meta. This is going to be really popular. Hits a lot of things because everything is an enchantment, or gets rid of an artifact that might be a little pesky. So next up we have Eidolon of Countless Battles. This seems like it's really good too. It seems like it's probably going to be pretty pricey. It's a bestow creature as well as being low costed. It has an awesome ability. It gets +1/+1 for each creature and aura you control, and it is in and of itself an aura, so it's always going to be at minimum a 2/2 and has the potential to get exponentially bigger from there depending on if you're playing an auras deck. So this guy's kind of just an auras general here. He's going to be awesome. It seems like they're setting up an auras deck huge here. So 3-color auras is probably going to be a pretty big thing, I would figure, going forward. Next up we have Acolyte's Reward. This seems like it's going to be pretty alright. Prevent the next X damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn, where X is your devotion to white. If damage is prevented this way, Acolyte's Reward deals that much damage to target creature or player. So you can do a pretty big swing here. You can prevent all damage that would be done to your creature, and if you've got a bunch of white devotion here, you can turn around and slam that into another creature that might be bothering you or pesky, or you can just stick it straight into the player's face. So good way to finish a game probably too. And next up we have Crypsis, which is just a common, but target creature you control gains protection from creatures your opponents control until end of turn. So you want your one guy to stick around for a while here, and you can untap it. So it's an inspired enabler on top of everything else. So you swing with your big guy. Next turn you cast this on your creature, untap it, and get your inspired ability out of it, and it gains protection from their creatures until end of turn. So it seems like it'd be really good. Or you could wait till their declare blocker stage and untap it, declare it as a blocker, and there you go. So next up we have Nullify. Counter target creature or aura spell. Just a simple counter for double blue, but could be pretty pertinent, especially if you want to get a big aura out there. They can just go ahead and cancel it, basically. So it seems like it will have a pretty decent impact. Vortex Elemental is actually one that's kind of surprised me. It seems like it's pretty good. For 1 blue, you get a 0/1, and you put Vortex Elemental in each creature blocking or blocked by it on top of their owner's library. Then those players shuffle their libraries. So you're gonna basically make 2 creatures disappear into your decks. It seems like it's really good for what it does. Excuse me here. And it's really low costed, so it's got the ability to defend itself and make a troublesome creature disappear, which seems like it's really good. And it's not like you're just returning it to the top of your owner's library. It's actually going away and disappearing into their actual deck. So seems pretty good in my opinion. We have next up here, sorry about that. This is one of my absolute favorite cards. Black Oak of Odonos is a defender, 0/5 for 3, and it has the ability to tap another untapped creature you control for black mana, and it gets +1/+1 till end of turn for each other creature you tap this way. So you can pump this guy, and you can tap your inspired guys without attacking with them. So this seems like an inspired dream, really, because he's got the ability to defend himself, and he's got the ability to get down your inspired people without attacking with them. So this seems like it's going to be really awesome. I plan on brewing a lot around this guy. Seems fantastic. Black's got a lot of power this time, so it seems like he'll do really well. And he's a zombie, which is just a plus. And the flavor on this is just unreal. It says Phoenix promised the newly dead souls they would be spared from Erebos, and this he did not lie. And as you can see here in the art, it's a tree that's literally made out of dead people. So seems really cool. I like it. I like the flavor behind it, and it just seems like it's a really fun card. If you can protect it, it'll be a workhorse for you. Fated Return is a new reanimator type card. This seems like mono black devotion is just going to play the tar out of this card. It's an instant. You can put a target creature card from a graveyard, not your graveyard, any graveyard, onto the battlefield under your control. It gains indestructible, and if it's your turn, scry 2. So you get rid of one of their big meddlesome creatures. You got a lot of devotion on the field. Tap out, nick those, bring this in. It gains indestructible, so they're not going to be able to get rid of it again, and you get to scry 2. So this seems like it's just going to be a mono black devotion bomb here. But that's just my opinion on that one. Next one we have here is Guild. I think this is fantastic. Exile target creature for 4. In and of itself, not bad. Put a colorless artifact token named Gold onto the battlefield, and it has sacrifice this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Okay, so I get to exile something and get a free mana out of it. Not bad at all. Love it. You're missing that 1 extra mana to cast something you need to cast. Boom, there you go. Seems really good. This is another, like, I compare it to Grey Merchant of Asphodel just because it's a common that seems like it's going to be destructive. It's nowhere near on the same power level as Grey Merchant, but it's still just a bomb common for another mono black. Even if they ran 2 of these in their deck, it would be just fantastic and could wreck face. It costs X less to cast, where X is the devotion to black, and it's a 6 and black. You get 2 Nightveil Specters on the field, and this guy you can cast a 4/5 for 1. I mean, this is just destructive. So you can cast this guy really early, big blocker. Seems like he could wreak some havoc. So big fan of this guy too. Just seems like he's broken almost. This is a new red one of the only ones that's worth mentioning that's new. Fall of the Hammer. It's instant that target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. So it's like a fling you can only aim at a creature. For 2. There's not any drawbacks to it either, so this seems really good for red. We'll go on to Satyr Fire Dancer here. This one was spoiled last night, and I really like this guy too. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage to an opponent, Satyr Fire Dancer deals that much damage to target creature that player controls. So this takes away from you having to burn spell a creature so your creature can get in for damage. You can just go ahead and, you know, if you're playing a Boros, you can just go ahead and War Leader's Healer them straight to the face. This guy's on the field, and you can go ahead and deal 4 damage to one of their creatures too. That just seems like a huge swing. This guy's going to be amazing in some of those burn decks that you see out there, the Phoenix burn decks and such like that. So you'll see this guy a lot in those things, especially if they have a way to protect him. So I see this guy being huge. Whims of the Fates, I like it just because it's a flavorful card, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to mess around with. And starting with you, each player separates all permanents he or she controls into 3 piles. Then each player chooses one of his or her piles at random and sacrifices those permanents. So and piles can be empty, so you can put all of them into one pile if you want. And then it's the luck of the draw. You're either going to have to sacrifice none or all of them, or you can separate them into one pile, and then a couple more into another couple piles, and then only try to sacrifice one of those piles. It just seems like it's really kind of a big gamble card. So, and I don't know. I think cards like this are fun to mess around with and see what you can get them to do. Could be a board wipe, could not be a board wipe, could end up hurting you more than it hurts them. You just never know. So, could be fun to mess around with. Courser Crypsis is another one here that seems to me like it's just broke as hell. This is an enchantment creature, a Centaur for 1 and 2 green. It seems like it's got almost a Malek Is It Paragon type ability here. Play with the top card of your library revealed, and you may play the top card of your library if it's a land card. Just in and of itself, that is destructive and stupid and broken. And it's a 2/4, so almost all of your, your power toughness removal doesn't hit it. So you'd have to double up on that to get rid of this guy. And whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. So I mean, let's just say, you hit a mana clump. I mean, during your main phases, the only time you really can't play mana is during your combat phases and your upkeep. So, I mean, other than that, you could just drop mana on the field all day, and there's no limit to how much you can play. So it seems really good. Almost broken, in fact, if you can protect him. So there you have that. Peregrination here is a new Farsi-ish type card, and it's search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, and put 1 onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. This guy's going to fetch shock lands for you. You can put your shock land tapped and your other basic land that you find into your hand that you can play next turn, and shuffle your library and scry 1. There you go. You get a free scry out of it, so you can check and see that you don't have a land next turn because you just played 2. So, I don't know, this seems really good to me too. And this is a new Hydra, Scourge of Skol avail. This seems aimed at Golgari-ish type decks and has almost a scavenge type ability. And it has trample, and it enters with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. You team this up with Corpse Deck Menace, it's going to go ahead and enter with 4. Sacrifice another creature, put a number of +1/+1 counters on Scourge of Skol avail equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. There you go, hyper scavenge that you can just ditch your dudes as they die and pump this guy like crazy. And then if you got an untap ability, there he comes back again and can swing that turn. It just seems nasty and broken and awesome. So your Hydra fans, here you go, there's another Hydra for you. And this latest one was Astral Cornucopia. I don't think this card is going to see limited play. I don't think this card is going to see standard play. I think this card is going to be big for your big decks that run mana fixing in your EDH commander type decks. That's what it seems like it's aimed at. I don't think this card is really going to have any impact whatsoever on standard, and I would really hate to pull this in a limited environment because it's not really cost effective. So the one thing that it does have going for it is you don't have to sack it to add the mana. You can keep adding the mana every turn, and you can just pick a different color every time and use it. So I mean, it does have that going for it, but I don't see it making a huge impact in standard. But I don't know, somebody might try to do something with it. So, and another card here that I wanted to go ahead and look at. And this one is one of my favorites so far, is Siren of Silent Song here. This one right here. It's a zombie Siren, it has flying, it has an inspired ability that whenever it becomes untapped, each opponent discards a card and puts the top card of his library into his or her graveyard. So they go ahead and scry for their turn, and you untap this guy, get rid of that top card that they wanted, or didn't want, or whatever. I mean, because they obviously, if they tucked it, they don't know what their top card is. Go ahead and get rid of that, and you can go ahead and discard a card from your hand while you're at it. Fantastic card. I love it. I love discard engines, and this guy is no exception to the rule. Seems like he'd fit perfectly into a Phoenix deck. But yeah, this guy seems like he's going to be really, really good, and I really like him. So let's hear what your opinions are on these things, and go ahead and look forward to today's spoilers and see what comes out later on this evening. By tomorrow, we're supposed to have everything spoiled, so we'll see what's going on. Don't forget to check out our new Esper Humans series that we have on the channel, and look forward to some deck building videos here, and probably going to do an Esper mid-range deck building series here maybe try to throw in some Born of the God stuff using Tapped Out, because I've been on there pretty much adding everything that's been spoiled so far. So if you don't use Tapped Out, you should probably check that out, because it could give you a heads up and head start on building with some of the Born of the Gods cards, because they are all on there. Everything that's spoiled on there, everything that's been spoiled so far is actually on there, and I've been updating that daily. So you can go ahead and brew and build with those cards on Tapped Out and play test with it to try to figure out how it works. So that's a big tool for you to use. So yeah, well, thanks for checking us out today, and we hope to provide you with more spoilers as the day goes on. And thanks for watching. It's been Chuck with MTG The Journey.